This tutorial is for 2nd grade, Module 6, Lesson 14. In this lesson, the students will be given paper templates of rectangles, and they will follow directions on cutting apart the rectangles and rearranging them. The first direction says to cut out each row of rectangle A. And off to the side here, I have rectangle A. So I need to cut right through the center horizontally to divide the two rows that make up rectangle A. And here are the two rows I get when I do that. Now let's answer the questions. First one says rectangle A has blank rows. Well, you can see it has two rows. And again, we count rows as going across horizontally. Each row has 4 squares. So 2 rows of 4 is equal to 8 squares altogether. So rectangle A has 8 squares. Rectangle B starts off looking the same as rectangle A, but now we're going to cut the columns of rectangle B. So we'll be making vertical cuts to separate the squares into columns. And here are the columns that make up rectangle B. So rectangle B has 4 columns. Each column has 2 squares. That means 4 columns of 2 squares equals 8 squares altogether, and rectangle B has 8 squares. In the next section, the students will cut out each square from both rectangles A and B and construct a new rectangle using all 16 squares. And here's an example of what that could look like. Now my rectangle has 2 rows, but there are 8 squares in each row. And the rectangle has 8 columns, and there are 2 squares in each column. The columns again running vertically. We're to write 2 repeated addition sentences to match the rectangle. I could write 8 plus 8 equals 16, and that would be counting the 8 squares in each row. Or I could write 2 plus 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 2, which also equals 8, and that's counting the columns that have 2 squares in each, and there are 8 columns. So even though both repeated addition problems are referring to the same rectangle, one is counting rows and the other one is counting columns.